facing the worst of the worst.
Normal mind usually try to make one another to function society normally.
You would try, but sometimes you can't. So I'm just saying, there are people in this world that are in a very tough place. Do we have to be rude and upset them just
kind for everyone who's fighting a hard battle? Everyone.
or in those cases? In those cases, do you feel like it's okay
In the
to...
extreme rare cases, I'm talking about some made-up genders. Like I was obviously born boy. I don't feel like a Caesar. You for me is they. It's like no, you are a dude.
What he's doing
Why
is saying,
do you get so invested in how other people want to feel about themselves? Why does that
Because
matter?
I'm not sorry. Like okay.
So if they got upset, then you'd be upset because you upset them.
They're policing my language. It's like if you pass, you pass. Claire White passes. I call her a her. She is a her. Dennis Riley, dude. Riley Dennis. Yeah, Riley Dennis, dude. Claire White is a her.
Can you imagine having to go through your life and have other people decide what you can call yourself? Like you have to pass a test? Like personally, you have to decide it's okay that person looks enough like a woman to call her a woman. Do you feel like that's not okay?
Even the people who don't generally pass and look like they're actually trying, get the status.
Okay, see, so you're being more reasonable. Like a lot of these people aren't that reasonable.
Choose a binary.
Well, now that's less reasonable. They went from being like, you know, like there's a gray area and sometimes it can be tough, and if it looks like you're really trying, then yeah, we're not going to say, oh, you're not pretty enough, we're going to call you a man to shame you, right? Some of these people, but then when you say you have to pick a binary, you're going to make people make that choice. And so I think you're more reasonable than your slogan often. Like, you acknowledge that there's some people that try really hard to look like women, they feel like women, but they look really masculine. They wear dresses, they put on makeup, they try.
And I already know, but if they're actually choosing a side and they actually look like they're trying to find a, you get the status.
Okay. Well, that's a better belief. I still don't understand why.
Either boy or girl. Boy who turned to the girl, now you're a girl. Girl who turned to the boy, now you're a boy. And then put in the work, get the status. And don't make it made up statuses, 72 genders. There are two.
And then the 0.5% of the population that's hermaphrodite, like those we can call something different.
You need to be careful.
But just in those cases.
They're going against activists. They're going against organizers.
If somebody
I come from Bellingham, Whatcom County.
And you feel like
the legislative district with Erickson, the same senator that was in the transition team from Trump.
Then we can have the discussion, but you still don't have the right to say, no, you have to call me. That'd be like me walking around here. Everybody, you have to call me Lord High Commander, whether you like it or not. That's what you have to call me. And I know it's deeper than that. I know it's part of their identity. My brother
Meridian last year on May 7th to say stop racism. They were arrested. We call them the Whatcom Tree. Among them my daughter Josefina Mora. Until today, Whatcom County is still trying to prosecute them. It's been over a year and they have not wanted to dismiss the charges. They still want to prosecute them. Same thing where our native leadership from the Loop Station decided to block the highway, the freeway, early this year. And Erickson introduced a bill saying that if you block a railroad or a freeway or a highway, you will become an economic terrorist. Remember
give each other the space to live out our lives how we want to.
Decided to step up and say we're not
that
going to take it
philosophy
anymore.
is interesting, like in theory. But like, I've never seen anyone in real life when you engage with people like your brother. Like when you actually engage with people, you don't go out of your way to offend them, right? Like no one,
absolutely,
right? Like the thing is, some people do. Like they are pushing to
Man, I've been reading up on Facebook the pages of people who comment online that are from the left, and they get a lot of racist bullshit and a lot of homophobic bullshit on their Facebook. I can understand if somebody lived in that bubble, how they would assume that the right is all just homophobic, horrible people. Right? I see that, and for as much as I'm part of that community and speaks for the right, I'm sorry that
we don't have to have people
that is totally disrespectful
for us to care.
But forcing somebody to choose one word over another
for us to say
just
this is
undermines
wrong.
the fundamental
So please
issue of
come
personal
down to
freedom.
Tacoma,
And when you
down
do
to
that,
Tacoma,
you do that for everybody.
and make sure that
The way I look at it with gender is, you know, most people, like, you can make an
I'm
assumption.
going to step a little closer so I can hear you better.
Thank you.
This helmet is horrible for talking.
And she's saying I stepped up to you just to let you know because she...
You stepped up to me.
Thank you, Laura.
So anyway.
Before you try calling me out on anything, make sure you use your
Where were
brain.
we? We were saying...
Okay, we've got
Like my brother.
Yeah, so a lot of times, like, in typical situation, you can walk up to someone and you can assume. And you can say, you know, this guy wants to be called a guy. This guy wants to be called a guy. Guy. Female. She wants to be called a guy. There's some cases you can't tell, right? And so, in those cases, like, it seems like you would make sense to say, hey, you know, what would you prefer to be called? Because we give that same, by default, that respect to everyone. Because it's easy to give.
I'm a Christian. I come from a Christian background, right? Somebody who's going through gender dysmorphia, whatever you want to call it, I feel that by using their chosen pronouns, that I'm feeding into something that's negative and harmful to them. I don't feel that it's loving for me to play into what I believe is a delusion, right? Now, we can disagree whether or not it is a delusion, but in my heart, I feel I'm hurting that. And I have the right to live out my right to express that in my daily actions. So
if we assume their gender, if we assume their gender,
that's how I view it. Hurt these people, but I do love and care about them.
yeah, I hear that.
So, if Jesus were going to come up against someone who was had gender dysphoria, do you think that he would like shame that person and use words that offend them, or do you think that he would talk them up and bring them into the fold and try to show them love? Like that's the thing
I believe that he would definitely try to show some love, and I believe that Jesus Christ would only speak the truth. And when it comes down to the gender dysmorphia, every cell in your body is screaming, you are a male or you are a female. I think there is a distinction there that's serious, that God built into this world for a reason, and that together, man and woman, make a partnership that together we can do so much more in this world and we can live out the gospel of Christ. And for me to use the wrong pronouns to put into that person, building up their delusion, and I don't want to do that, I don't want to hurt them. At the same time, if it got to the point where I needed to talk to that person and there was no way to do it without using their chosen pronouns, then yeah, I would compromise on it. As long as they knew where my heart was. I feel that your life out is wrong, that I don't believe that you are a male or that you are a female, right? That you are your natural sex. But if for us to have this conversation, for me to use those pronouns, I will compromise.
Except for like the people that are born as well.
Yeah.
But I mean, we can't say no.
Yeah, that's a good question. And you know what? I haven't met any hermaphrodites and known them earnestly, so I haven't really thought that issue out. It's a small minority, but yeah, they shouldn't be pushed off disenfranchised either. And if I ever get the opportunity to have someone like that in my life right now, I would accept them and I would talk to them, but I would still, I try to figure things out, but yeah, I would still try to live by my values. And that's the one thing that I kind of, push out there. I think as Americans, we each have to find our truth and live out the best of our ability. And then I think we also have a responsibility to share that, and if somebody doesn't want to hear it, then they don't have to.
But when do you have that responsibility? Like, let's say you're in a Starbucks and you see someone who's obviously transgendered behind the front counter. Do you have a responsibility at that point to say, hey, just letting you know, I am morally against who you are?
No. If in a situation like that, I wouldn't come up to him and say, excuse me, sir, would you please give me a cup of coffee? And like rub it in their face. I would purposely dance around using a pronoun. I would ask for their name. We have one person here, Laura, that has the brain.
She's over here.
Ready to
intersect.
And she's organized.
And we spent an hour and a half talking to each other over at the fountain when we were waiting for people to show up. no issue. Even then, right? Spoke to them specifically about, what pronouns they use. Because I'm a little confused right now. I don't know where you are, and they identify themselves as being intersex. They are on both sides, even physically, and they look forward to someday, having surgery to assign themselves as female, and that's how they identify. Okay, and then from there, I purposely skewed away from using pronouns to force one way or the other, and just leave it up to them. Hey there. Want a picture?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi. Do a little dance. Make a
So
little
we were
love.
able to talk. We had fun, we shared our views, and nobody was insulted.
And so to me, that is PC. Like that is what political correctness means. Is just trying not to offend people and trying to work with them to be able to communicate.
If that's all that it is, then I am like the most PC person you ever met. But like up in Canada, where they're pushing legislation that you have to use a person-specific pronouns, and you remove that freedom, then you also remove the area to have a discourse about it. You have to accept this, and you can't question.
What about here in Washington State?
What was that?
We also have something similar to that here in Washington State that was passed by an bureaucratic group.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I haven't heard of that.
Commission on Human Rights has said that you can be sued as an employer if you misgender somebody on purpose or even on accident.
Yeah.
This was passed at, I believe, at the beginning of the year or the end of last year.
I'll have to look into that.
Basically, it's saying that in employment, if you are harassed, and they include now sexual gender, if you're harassed repeatedly because of your gender, like say, a transgender person was working there and you repeatedly kept saying sir or using their old male name, and the company doesn't do anything about that you can be sued for.
Actually, I think that's just regardless, depending on who's calling the shots. Like, for instance, if you're a transgender, and I keep referring to you as a male when you want to be female, or I refer to you once and you get offended, I can still be, my employer can still be sued. I can be sued because it's not.
Yeah, in America you have to be careful because you can sue for anything. So legally, you can sue. With sexual harassment, it won't go anywhere unless there's been a repeated pattern of behavior. The employer's been notified of it and has failed to do anything. So it just means that same process would have to be followed, but it includes gender. So there is protection, but it's not one-time thing.
And see, for me, it's like we already have laws against general harassment.
Right.
And I don't know that we need a law for a specific group, as long as we can, identify the behaviors, not in their exact execution, but in their intention and result, that those things are not allowed and not appropriate. And it's up to each individual and each company to document that as much as possible to build up a case. And I think that when we isolate a particular group, that it's almost like elevating them to a certain level. And it's appropriate sometimes because, if 50 years ago, something like that might have been really necessary. Nowadays, I think there's a lot more acceptance, even in the last 10 years. I remember my brother coming home from a Halloween party, just beat the shit out of bloody. Him and all his friends got jumped, right? Because they were gay. And they were dressed up for Rocky Horror Picture Show. That's what they were going to, and they got their asses beat. I love that movie. It's fun, but then I could understand, but we don't see that as much now. And I think there needs to be a phasing out of some of the controls that have been put in place that are limiting to our freedoms.
Like, do you have some examples?
Something like that would be unnecessary today, I feel. The harassment laws as far as pronouns, but even like affirmative action. I think that there is enough of an institution built up that when there is racism and what have you, people have someplace to turn to, right? It's not like this unspoken issue that's hidden behind the scenes. It's gotten so far to the point that I think it's being exaggerated and being used politically. So
with affirmative action, that's a tough one.
I know, right?
I get a feeling we're going to disagree a lot on this. So,
and it's okay to disagree.
Yeah, it is. So, and you seem like a pretty reasonable guy. So, no penicillin? Oh, you're
yeah, my blood type and no penicillin in case anything happens.
Gosh, for a second I was like, what kind of crazy shit?
I've
heard of anti-vaxxers.
By the way, I would just like to come in and state that the black guy who was actually the front of this, when he came over and talked, we already won this ideological battle.
Oh, okay, you already...
He says you're a degenerate.
We're having a decent conversation. Are we not having it? Are we having a decent
conversation? So far,
now. This is some degeneracy.
He also says you're racist.
But you just wanted an example of something. I think
so affirmative action.
Of something that could be phased out. There was horrible institutional racism in America at one point. There are remnants of it now, but there's enough of an infrastructure in place where these things can be called out, can be highlighted, and dealt with.
Do you think that we're at a place now, honestly, where black people have equal opportunity to succeed the same as other races?
All right, so we'll go back. I grew up in North Philadelphia, okay? I watched people get shot down and killed in front of my house. Literally like 12 feet away when I was 5 years old, brains splattered out on the concrete, right? Another guy got shot down in the street as he was running away. I watched people deal drugs off my porch, right? And at the same time, I have people come around and talk to me about my white privilege. When I was born to Telly Roberto Mendez, okay, I'm Puerto Rican, okay, but they're going to talk to me about my white privilege, okay? There are avenues in place for people to lift themselves up. The whole bootstrap thing, I know people hate that, you know, but the change that needs to occur right now is within the mindset of people that are still at the bottom. They need to own up to their own actions, to their take responsibility for their own lives, and lift them up. And what I'm seeing is that I'm not saying everybody. There's a large section of people that are at the bottom of all races that want the government to do the work and lift them out. And I'm telling you right now, when the government does the work for you, you don't appreciate it, you don't work for it, and it's never going to help you.
So, can I ask a question real quick? I hate to interrupt your conversation. I asked this to a person on Facebook the other day. What systems are in place in America, in the American government, that discriminate against black folks, or Asians, or Hispanics, or anybody of color?
What system?
Yeah.
So, as a system, I'd say the police department would be number one, the law enforcement.
How so?
I think that it's a situation where you've got a number of people that have racist feelings in law enforcement, and they've been in the police force for decades, right? They've been there for years and years and years, and they've grown up with them, and they've been protected. And so they're in place, and statistics point out, show that black people that are just driving down the street minding their own business are more likely to be pulled over than white people. If they get pulled over, they're more likely to have their vehicle searched than white people. If something's found, they're more likely to be arrested for it than white people. If they're arrested, they're more likely to get harsher prison sentences than white people. So,
can I ask, what are you basing this on?
This is just statistics when they say, here's the number.
Where can I find these statistics? And I don't mean to be challenging, but yeah, I just want to know where you're coming from.
Yeah, you can get the statistics from the federal government. Well, I actually don't know if it's still on the Department of Justice's website, but they used to be on the Department of Justice's website. If not, there's a mirror site. They've taken a lot of that data down, and it's posted on a mirror site. But basically, it's been shown. And I mean, like, anyone who's hung out with black people who know enough, like, black people get pulled over more often. It just happens, and it may just be a small number police officers that are racist that are doing it, and they're preserved in the system not because there's racists in the system, but because police officers are like a brotherhood, and they've got your back no matter what you do. And so they're going to keep them in until they retire. And so there's that problem that still exists, and we've got judges that are the same way. And the law, some of the laws themselves are set up, like if you get stopped for marijuana, like an ounce of marijuana, you're going to go to jail for a short period of time. If you get stopped for an ounce of cocaine, you're going to go for a longer period of time. You get stopped for a small amount of crack, which is heavily used by black people, the penalty's way, way, way high.
Actually, were you aware, I just looked this up yesterday when I was researching that girl's response to my question. White people use more crack, more cocaine, and a variety of other drugs. About the biggest users of, or the biggest drug that black people use is marijuana, which in this state is legal, and it has been decriminalized in most states throughout the union for years.
So there are two things about that fact. One is the majority of people in the country are white, and so white people are the majority of every statistic. So like the majority of murders are done by white people because it's the largest group.
Well,
so you have to look at per capita.
These statistics weren't based on of all drug users. These statistics were based on the number of whites who used.
Right.
And that number would typically, I agree, the actual number would be typically larger. However, if you're looking at percentages, which is what they were looking at, because we're such a large majority, whites should have a substantially smaller statistic.
Okay, so as per capita, we still use it more.
Yeah.
So the other point I had is that when it started, and I don't know how much you know about crack in particular, but it started and was fueled by a CIA campaign to actually get crack into cities, inner cities, so that they could arrest black people. That is information that can be looked up.
USA! 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 USA!
So it used to be that black people used it almost 100%, and it's moved to being more white-based, used more by white people, that and meth. And there are actually efforts now to change the penalties and decrease the penalties for crack, largely because we're seeing more and more white people use it, and white people have power to change laws. You had a point.
How much of the population is African American?
In the whole country, I'd say, I don't really know, but I'd say about 30%. 13, okay.
How much of the Holocaust committed by African Americans?
Probably 40 or 50.
35, but yes.
Everybody, it's time for us to step up on this
What's the single mother rate for Black Americans? What's the single mother rate for African Americans?
Single mother rate?
Yeah.
I don't know.
65.
So the thing about the single mother rate is you have to realize that a lot of policies were put in place that separated white men or black men from their families, right? Like the 3 strikes you're out, the mandatory sentencing. So if you get caught with crack, you end up in jail for 20 years minimum, right? So you're tearing those families apart to begin
So
with.
what you're saying is that, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but what you're saying is that those policies and not the behaviors of the people themselves is what separated?
I think it's both. I think that the policies help, and then that indicate, like, I don't think there's anything personally about people that are black that make them different than people who are white. So I think if you had white people that had to face those same policies and had that same experience, you'd have the same result. And so I think what happens is you have policies that attack black men, get them locked up, and you have a lot of single mothers and children being raised without fathers, and they don't have that same opportunity. They're struggling, they're poor, they're living in poverty, and people who are in poverty and starving during school aren't likely to get to college, right? Like, and so it feeds off each other.
Have you heard of Robert Peace?
No.
You also might want to blame the welfare state for that, because the welfare makes a great daddy. Also, who kills more black people? Whites or blacks?
Black people kill more black people, white people kill more white people. The reason that is that you're more likely to interact with and kill people that you interact with and see and know on a daily basis. Most crimes are crimes of passion. We're a very segregated country.
1 out of 10 do the gang violence. 1 out of 10 do the gang violence, which the police were actually helping with the gang violence. Police communities help with the gangs.
No science denying.
The police got taken out due to the fears of racism, and now gang violence is
yeah, gang. I mean,
basically the police stop the black from killing each other.
All these are problems, but do you think that these are problems just because the people are black? Do you think that's the main reason? It's okay if you do. I'm just trying to figure out where you're at right now.
Let me ask you.
It's the culture and it's the welfare state. Welfare makes a horrible daddy. The black culture sucks.
The majority of people on welfare are white. A higher percentage of the white population is on welfare than the black population. So honestly,
and the black welfare population is creeping up because of the daddy thing. Because men, not because of jail, because men are players. Because hip hop music, the culture, everything else.
Do you know Bill Clinton reduced Medicare funding tremendously and knocked a ton of people? He probably is more responsible for the largest cut in welfare of any president since it began. And that was back in the 90s. So we've actually had a decrease in the amount of funding we're giving to people for the last 30 years now. So it's not like we're giving more and more to people, we're actually taking more and more away. So just that is a phenomenon.
Which one of the things with things trying to get some of the entitlements down to keep people voting Democrats.
So here's one of the things about welfare with children. So don't think about the large policy. Don't think about it in big things. Think about like a poor family struggling with a child, right? Let's say you've got one that has welfare and one that doesn't, okay? I mean,
where's the dad? Where's the dad?
In the U.S. Let's just say where you're used to, like Seattle, right here.
Yeah, right.
One's got welfare, one doesn't, right?
Yeah.
Both single parent family, okay? So one child is raised with a mom who's having to work 2 or 3 jobs, can never be home. The kid is at daycare from 6 in the morning until 6 at night. Mom gets home at 8 at night. Doesn't even see the kid before the kid goes to sleep. Wakes him up in the morning. That's basically about all the kid sees, right?
Sounds like my phone.
Okay. Yep. So mom may grab fast food for dinner or something like that. You got another family that's got support to give the person schooling for preschool. Got support to give kids food so that they're not hungry and they can learn appropriately. So all that funding. So as they get through school, right? One is going to, and this studies and science prove it out, one by the time they're in 12th grade is going to be at like an 8th grade reading level.
Let me tell you.